However, as I said, fat percentage is a better parameter to grade ourselves whether we are obese or we are not. And any for males, it is more of muscles, female, it is less of muscles, and this is what we've been told all our life. However, for females also, and this is why females do not get into strength training very easily, they are more focused about reducing their calorie intake and stuff. That is not something we support at. We are not into counting calories. We are into counting your proteins and fat that we are providing you through the day. So good fats, like how I always keep mentioning, that good fat is something that helps us reduce extra fat percentage, because when we have fat, then only we can metabolize our fat in the body. The culprit is having carbohydrates. In Indian meals specifically, we have carbohydrates in all three meals, which is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And sometimes mid snacking also we involve complex as well as simple carbohydrate, and that's what the culprit is. So we'll talk about it a little later. It's not that simple to have categorize obesity. There are more parameters to it, which we'll talk about in the coming slides. So I will talk about the education system and parenting. In India, we have the ritual of celebrating every emotion or every occasion with food. And we tend to start eating sweets, we tend to start, and then the next day we don't even compensate it. We just move in the same direction, that we had sweets and next day is a normal day. We'll have to keep in mind that when we are eating sweets, we will have to compensate the next day or in the next meal by having a good, a good vegetable smoothie, or having a good saute vegetables, and not getting into, the normal meal the next time. Talking about the genetics and epigenetics, yes, genetic plays a major role in obesity. You will see mostly, when a parent, mom or dad, they are obese, even the child gets into the same kind of mode. This also we cover into our program, that how genetics play a role and how exactly we can take charge of genetically based obesity. Workplace and business culture, definitely workplace and business culture. We keep sitting at a place for long hours. We keep work. I mean, after the pandemic, it has become more prevalent in all the sorts of professions, that we are sitting 8 to 9 hours of screen time all the time, looking into either our phone screen or our desktop screen, and forget to even move around. So that culture is also contributing to obesity, and we will have to change this culture, alter this culture. And to alter this culture, we'll have to alter our lifestyle first. Like always, we always keep saying that move every 1.5 hours, do some squats, some jumping jacks. If nothing, just roam around for a while. This is called as non-thermogenic physical activity, where we are not working out at a continuous stretch for 1.5 hours, but we are moving for 5 to 10 minutes. This also increase our BMR. Now coming to hormones and metabolism, yes, having a slow metabolism is important, in when it comes to obesity. I have seen in my career that people have as low as 900 kilocalories as their BMR. BMR is nothing but the capacity to burn calories while resting, and through the day while you're doing activities. So basal metabolic rate. So this is something that is very important, and we work on increasing your BMR if you have your lower BMR in our program. BMR increases with 3 4 things. One is your all the time physical activity, which is intervals, which is on frequent intervals. Second is through your food. There are foods which increase your basal metabolic rate. One of them is your protein. So when you have more of protein, your basal metabolic rate goes higher, and this is also covered in our program when you join us. There are certain hormones, like we spoke about insulin resistance last time, definitely contributes to weight gain and fat gain. So that is something has to be taken in consideration. And also there are female hormones which actually affect, when we talk about estrogens. When females start moving post 35, the estrogen levels start going down, and that also contributes to excessive fat gain. And there are phyto estrogens available in the nature that we include into our program and help you, help the community to, replace their estrogen with the food that have estrogen in it. Exercise and activity level, as I mentioned, it is necessary for all of us to spare some time for our activity, preferably in the morning hours, because all of us get occupied towards the day end, and there are a lot of people who like to work out towards the day end. My humble request to all of you is to spare some time and work out in the morning. That will increase your BMR. We have to remember the movement of sun and moon. This is called as circadian rhythm. Our body has to be in sync with the circadian rhythms. So when the sun, so in the morning when the sun rises, our BMR is rising with the sun. When the sun reaches the peak between 12 and 4, this is the time when our BMR is on the top, and this is when our body can digest all kinds of foods, all kinds of heavy meals. As the sun sets, we'll have to reduce our food intake because our BMR is going lower and our digestive system is going to get sluggish. And this is when if we eat heavier meals, heavy in carbs towards the day end, our digestive system is not getting to rest. It is not able to detox our body because it is all the time working on our liver, is all the time working our intestine, our small intestine, everything is working all night, all the night. Then how is it going to take charge of detox? And these are small little factors to sound it, but these are very important factors which we also cover into our sharing the timing, the meal proportion as per the circadian rhythm. We also cover these parts into our program. Now, talking about the sleep pattern, please, this is the most undermined thing. People sleep for 4 to 6 hours, and that too, not in the hours as per the circadian rhythms. It has to be ideally when our body gets into the repair and maintenance mode. So whatever toxins it has, it will flush. Whatever, wear and tear happened in the muscles and even in the biochemicals of the body will get repaired in the night. But that cycle is 11 p.m. to 3 a.m. when we are getting into the recovery mode. So if we do not sleep in, early, these days the culture is to sleep at 1 o'clock in the night. I mean, I keep hearing from 80% of my client when I interact with them in the beginning that they sleep by 12:30 or 1 and they wake up by 8:30. Half the time is gone when your body was supposed to repair. How are you giving it a chance to repair? So it is important to consider our sleep pattern as per the circadian rhythm. Moving to the next, symptoms of obesity. So people, I'm not saying that, only obese people sweat. Sometimes with high blood pressure and other, factors are there where people sweat a lot. But yeah, majorly being obese is a sign. Sweating a lot, obese people sweat a lot. A second is double chin. You will see people having a double chin. That's a very clear sign of them getting them into from overweight to obesity category. Uh, Abdomen and waistline increase. This is the dangerous kind of obesity when we call it as visceral fat. This is not in your adipose tissues, but this is getting into your, into your organs now. This is a dangerous kind of fat which will have to take charge. And breathlessness, yes, you ask obese people to move around or climb stairs, they become breathless very easily. So breathlessness is also a sign and symptom which your body is giving that you are gaining weight and hence your stamina is also going down. So you should take charge at this time and go on a regressive path from being overweight. We'll have to come into being within the range rather than getting into the obesity, like how Dr. Nishtha had just explained that, what is the BMI that falls into normal category? That is 18 to 25. Beyond that, it becomes overweight. And then when you cross 29, it becomes obesity grade 1, across 35, obesity grade 2, and obesity grade 3 is 40 plus. So then, we would not want to get into that trap of having, that higher as your BMI. So let's reverse it well in time. If you see any of these symptoms, it is time for us to be, pay attention to it, start working on it in multiple ways. And obviously, we are here to help in case if anybody is feeling, because obesity does not come all alone. It brings all of these problems in our body. When we are obese, we see that you have high blood pressure, you have inflammation. As I always say, inflammation is not a very simple word. Inflammation also comes with obesity into your joints, into your, internal organs. So when you are obese, you get to see inflammation in your joints and it becomes difficult to move. Your inflamed pancreas, when you're having too much of carbohydrate, you are having too much of sugars, you're having too much of fat, your amylase and lipase goes higher. Amylase and lipase are the enzymes secreted by pancreas, and they play a role in metabolizing your fat and carbohydrate. They start increasing more and your pancreas becomes swollen, and this is a very when your pancreas is not functioning well, the entire metabolic system goes for a toss. So it becomes very important that we take charge or of our fat and carbohydrate intake and let our pancreas work optimally to release insulin, to release your amylase and lipase. Now coming to your liver disease, of course liver gets into a fatty liver mode when we do not pay heed to our excessive fat percentage. As I said, bone joint pain comes in. Infertility is something that is happening these days, very common. We see patients who join us with PCOS and hypothyroidism and have infertility and struggling to conceive. So this becomes very important that we take charge of our obesity well in time so that we are able to conceive and have children and have that pleasure of being parents. Now, this is also something which I would want to discuss with you all, that there are body types as per Vedic nutrition, Vedic Ayurveda, and even modern science is believing in it, that there are three major body types and we will have to eat as per our body type. It can't be the same for everyone. Like how we say, one size does not fit all. This is what it is. So there are different kind of body types, that is ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. So ectomorph body type is those people who have a very thin and light frame. They tend to lose weight very easily, and they're very active people. They get bouts of energy and get fatigued also in bulk. So I'm sorry, I'm a little unwell. My throat is bothering me a little. So we talk about ectomorph body type. These people should eat ideally one, half plate of carbohydrates, one-fourth cup of plate of veggies, and one-fourth plate of your good fats. They should ensure that they are having 2 to 3 spoons of good fats, which can be your coconut oil, virgin coconut oil, mustard oil, which can be your ghee in diet. So this is a body type which can be a little liberal on their carbohydrate intake because their body does not have the tendency to gain fat very easily. These guys also have the cold hand and cold feet, and they are also always struggling with the constipation. So that is a type of body as per the Vedic nutrition. The second type is mesomorph. Mesomorph is something I would say these are the best blessed people because they tend to gain weight easily, but they tend to lose also very easily. They have very high metabolic fire, and this is why their digestion is good. They never struggle with digestion issues. They can have they can have anything and everything. They are blessed, but I would recommend them to have one-third plate of protein, one-third plate of carbs, and one-third plate of veggies. They can be a little liberal in their diet. The third part of it is going to be endomorph body type. This is the most unblessed kind of people, and then they tend to gain fat very easily. and they find it very difficult to even lose weight. They should consume ideally half plate veggies, one-fourth plate carbs, and one-fourth plate proteins. They should be more on vegetables for them to be into a right BMI. So the struggle for people who are endomorph is a little more. We also need to remember that when we are eating, we will just have to eat 80% of our appetite. This is for all three kinds of body type, which is ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph, that we cannot be eating until we are stuffed. There's no place left for our digestive juices and for our air to circulate where our food is going to move. So before you get stuffed, we need to ensure that we eat just 80% of our appetite. We should always remember that our stomach size is our fist size. Fist, as in the when we close our hand, the fist becomes, it's only that much. We are putting pressure and we are overstuffing it, will always result into sluggish movement into digestive tract and GI tract, and it is going to be difficult for anybody to be in their right BMI and right fat percentage and muscle percentage. Now we talk about achieve a what exactly do we do in nutrition therapy into our program. So we achieve and maintain a healthy weight through balanced diet and nutrition diet. We also make you adapt all the different behavioral changes where you can be into. We educate you and we inculcate those behavioral changes into our program. We give you that health literacy. We teach you about food so that you can be your own guide. I wouldn't say that you can take charge of your family members, because one size doesn't fit it all. And when specifically it comes to the nutrition part, it is always by your individual. As I said, the body type, the BMI, the basal metabolic rate, everything plays a role here when we talk about obesity or when we talk about reducing the extra fat percentage. Uh, it is very important to have a good relationship with food, emotional connect with your food. Emotional connect, as in when we are eating, we are not afraid of what we are eating. So when we are eating also and we're not being happy also. Sometimes I've seen people eating and they're telling me, Shweta, I did this, there is this new thing called as cheat. It is not a cheat, guys. It is reward. When you eating something and you're feeling good about it, eat that for a while and next time you compensate it. Sometimes what happens, you eating it also, you're not happy about, so your emotional satiety hasn't come, and then you eat in the next meal again. So this is why we teach in our program that how to have a very pleasurable relationship with your food, where you enjoy your food, where your mental satiety has come in and you are in a very good mental frame to take care of the next meal. Now I'll cover the dietary guidelines quickly. All of us know that we should not include our simple carbohydrates in our diet because they increase the blood glucose levels immediately, and hence this entire cycle, blood glucose level goes higher, and the glycogen and the when your liver is stuffed, it has enough of glucose and glycogen. It converts all the extra carbohydrates into fats, and this is where the entire story of obesity and your being overweight begins. So we can include complex carbohydrates in our diet, like all kinds of legumes, all kinds of pulses, all kinds of vegetables, all kinds of good fats, and rather than getting into the simple carbohydrates, which is maida, which is sugar, which is your chapati. Sometimes you can give a skip to your chapati or make it multigrain so that it is compensated with fiber and not increasing your blood glucose levels immediately. Foods that are rich in fiber is something we should always combine even when we are eating complex carbohydrate. If you are eating a chapati, include some amount of fiber in it. As in, you can make a chapati adding some amount of spinach to it, or sometimes some amount of radish to it, or you can add broccoli to it, or you can add onion to it. So having chapati, or you can add good amount of fiber and protein through chia seeds. So do not have a plain chapati if you are mesomorph or endomorph body type. I will talk about the good proteins. Obviously, good proteins play a major role. Good proteins are all kinds of lean proteins. I'm not talking about the meat, the red meat, which also has protein, but that also has good amount of saturated fat. So I'm talking about the lean proteins, which can be your egg white, which can be your fat-free paneer, which can be your green moong dal, your kala chana, your black-eyed beans, and even the brown rice for that matter. Now, coming to the healthy fats are important for all of us because they help us metabolize our fat in the body. So, it is very important that we include good fats in our body. Good fats we've already discussed many times. Your almonds have good fat, your walnuts have good fat, your coconut has good fats, your ghee has good fats, your mustard oil has good fats. So the mufa pufa and saturated fats combination is what we take charge of into our program. Okay, so tips to lose weight are like follow a low fat diet rather than low fat. Please be focused. Yeah, obviously it has to be low fat, but it has to be low in carbohydrate as well. Eat more fruits and vegetables than relying completely on carbohydrates. Uh, Fruits is something which is debatable currently. Everybody is saying that everybody is talking about being fruit dangerous when you are gaining weight. And I've seen a couple of guidelines in the social media where people are talking about fruits being a bad culprit. However, I am not a big advocate. I would say that eating fruits at the right time is important. So, what is the right time to eat fruit is either in the breakfast or obviously combining it with good seeds so that good fats are there and no insulin spike immediately. And the second time can be your mid morning is the best time to eat fruit between your breakfast and your lunch to get the optimum benefit and nutrients through your fruits. So, fruits are not our enemies, they are going to help us in even reducing weight because they contain those vitamins and minerals which are required for a healthy cycle. Take dietary supplements. Sometimes what happens, our body requires, I mean, the daily recommendation of nutrients is, and if we take all of it through our diet, trust me, it's going to be a lot. So if you have a very high metabolic fire, you can obviously have them all through your diet. But sometime we'll have to supplement some amount of nutrients that will help us. There's our lipotropic nutrients, which actually detox our liver. So when you join our program, we tell you more about these lipotropic supplements, which help you lose weight fast and detox our liver to detoxify our body. Consume healthy fats, as I'd mentioned multiple number of times. Aim for calorie balance. So whatever kind of body type we have, whether ectomorph, whether mesomorph, or whether endomorph, uh, maintaining a calorie balance is important. That means if you want to lose weight, obviously we'll have to have calorie deficit, a negative calorie balance, that what we are consuming more than that we are burning. Most of us generally, if I talk about females, have a calorie requirement of 1400 to 1700 calories. And if we talk about male, because they have more of muscle mass and this is thereby their basal metabolic rate is higher, they can have calories somewhat between 1800 to 2200. So if you are eating more than that, obviously it is day by day, it is going to add on to ultimately a higher fat percentage. So whatever we are burning, we will have to eat a little lesser than that in order to lose that extra fat. So we also monitor calories not as the count of calories, but as the nutrient count, that how many calories are going through protein and how many calories are going through carbs, how many calories are going through fat. This is something has to be considered. Reduce portion size. Obviously, second serving is something we should curtail if we are trying to lose weight. We'll have to be focused on just taking one serving, eating it slowly, so that it just goes, the leptin and ghrelin plays its role. These are the satiety and hunger hormones. So there is biochemistry. It says that it for your brain to get activated and to get signals that you're full now, it takes about 20 minutes. And this is why eating slowly is important. If you eating the similar amount of food and eating it slowly, and you reaching the time 20 minutes, you will automatically get the signal that your stomach is full and you have to stop eating now. This is a very important factor. Most of us eat in hurry. Most of us eat mindlessly while being on calls, while being, while watching television. So it is important that we be mindful when we are eating, so that our mind can get signal that you're full now and you should stop eating. Drinking water. Drinking water is important. Sometimes what happens, we are thirsty and we feel we are hungry. So when you feel hungry, when you first get the hunger pang, have a glass of water. This is something, if you start practicing, you will see a drastic calorie intake drop in your day-to-day life. I have seen even with myself, sometimes I feel as if I am hungry, and then I tend to drink a glass of water and I realize, no, I was thirsty. So this is something to be paid attention to, that when you feel hungry, the first thing you should do is drink a glass of water. Okay, so this is pretty much it about the things that we can do to lose weight. Okay, regular physical activity, as I've mentioned in the beginning itself, that regular physical activity of doing a 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity exercise in a week will actually help you lose that extra fat that your body has retained. So it is important to follow our diet, but it is also equally important to handhold with our exercise part of it. If we incorporate strength training in our daily exercise, we tend to gain muscle, and gaining muscle is something that will increase your BMR. Once the BMR is higher, you tend to burn more calories in every activity. And throughout the day, end of the day, it helps us create that negative calorie balance. So this thereby it is important to do physical activity and strength training. So every kind of physical activity has its own role. When we talk about cardio, we burn calories. When we do strength training, we get muscles. We create more muscles in our body, and that increases our BMR. So every physical activity has its own role, but doing some kind of physical activity is something is very important. At least 150 minutes in a week time is what we'll have to target upon. Having a plate method, as I said, is very important. The largest portion should always be our vegetable, along with these, followed by the protein and followed by the carbs. That should be your smallest portion. This is pretty much it from my end. We'll be very happy if you have any questions and you drop your question into Q&A box, and we'll be able to answer them. You have any further questions, you can ask, please.
Shweta, there are a few questions for you pertaining to the oil and certain other things in the chat box.
Okay, I am trying to see. Give me a second. How do I be able to understand what type of what type of body type is mine, and what is the specific test? There's no specific test in modern nutrition to check what kind of body type you have. However, there are special characters that every body type has. Like I've mentioned, when you have ectomorph kind of body, you have a tendency to have energy bouts. You feel a lot of energy, sometimes, and you all of a sudden feel a lack of energy. That is fatigue bout, we call it. You generally have to, you generally feel constipated very easily. You become constipated as soon as you reduce your water intake. Rest mesomorph and endomorph body type does not get constipated that very easily. If you have ectomorph body type, your hand and feet are cold. So these are different symptoms. If you are into our program, we can guide you, thoroughly, that what body type you have and what should be the specific diet plan for it. how I'll be able to understand that what type, okay, what size of plate I should use during portion size control. The plate is a normal plate that we eat at home. There should not be any specific plate mentioned. I am not saying that it should be a large thali kind of a thing, but it can be a normal plate size where you will put half plate with the vegetables if you are your endomorph body type. If you're mesomorph body type, you will fill it a one fourth, two-third plate of with vegetables. If you are ectomorph, as I said in the beginning, if you're ectomorph type, you are liberal to eat more of carbs, and you can eat all three in the same proportion. What cooking oil is the best for overweight people? Please recommend the right cooking oil for the good digestion and control weight. Okay, so when we talk about good cooking oil, I wouldn't say any oil is bad provided you are using it in a right way. Yeah, it's just the refined oil that we should avoid because they go through a process, and in the process of that processing they get a lot of toxins and not so good components. This is why we should avoid, we should have more of, consume more of coconut oil, peanut oil and mustard oil in our cooking, and to top it up we should use it with the ghee. Any oil which creates smoke uh, will transform into trans fat if you heated beyond a point. There are different smoking point for all the oils. It'll be difficult to answer. What we can do is we can send you a blog on this, a link of our blog on this, where you can understand how exactly and what oil you should incorporate in your daily diet. But broadly, I would say that start using, do not use olive oil in your daily cooking because that has a very low smoking point. It turns in toxic and turns into trans fats very easily. This is why we should never use, cold pressed virgin coconut, virgin, what do I say? Oils in our cooking. We should use only regular oils, the cold pressed ones, not the virgin ones in our cooking. Mustard oil and coconut oil are good for cooking. Groundnut oil is also good for cooking. I think this is pretty much it. Any further questions we can answer in the, we can mail it to you. We have your email IDs.
Sure. Shweta, since everybody has made an effort to attend the webinar, so I guess we can,
Yeah,
at
so
least
people
tell
who,
them. Yeah, yeah.
sure, sure. So since you've given your valuable time to us at this point, on a Saturday morning, we would announce you to have a consultation free of cost. That is a 1,500 worth rupees consultation with us. In case you have any specific concern related to either obesity or any metabolic disorders or anything where you're looking for a consultation in terms of diet and medical aspect, you are entitled to it, and please ask for it, and we will just ask for your reports. We will just ask you to fill a simple form which you will fill, which will give us complete insight into your body type, and we will give you a slot for a consultation. So I'll be very happy in case if you guys want to consult or anybody in the family member would like to consult with us.
Thank you, Shweta, for the wonderful presentation. Thank you all for being able to attend the presentation throughout. So thanks a lot. I believe we can end it now, Shweta, shall we?
Yeah, yeah. I think thank you so much, everybody, for coming in. We'll have you, in the next webinar. Looking forward to have you in the next webinar very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.